Platform presence is taking the passion for the Lord we feel on the inside and expressing it outwardly in a way that communicates honor to God and inspires the congregation to worship. There are many expressions and postures of worship in the Bible, and all are appropriate in worship. How well we exercise those expressions of worship is something that has to be developed if we desire to provide the congregation an example of worship. In Deuteronomy 10:8, God reminds us of our Levitical responsibilities to minister to the Lord, to carry the presence of God, and to bless the people. We have to remember as leaders that we're ministering in two directions. Sometimes our expressions of worship are honoring to God, but they're not necessarily engaging to the people. We need to remember to minister in both directions, to engage the Lord with our worship and also to engage the congregation.
Remember that we are here to lead others in worship. We know that this is a very sensitive topic for worshipers. Above all, we want to challenge you to ask the Lord for creativity and to help you with your outward expression of worship. Many of us have struggled with our platform presence, only to find out that we had to check our hearts. A lot of this can seem overwhelming or even unnatural at first, but platform presence is a technique that must be learned. Once you get the mechanics of it, the balance of engaging the congregation and just worshiping the Lord will be found. Facial expressions are a huge part of your body language while worshiping. Many times facial expressions can communicate the wrong message to the congregation. Your face may be saying something different than what your heart is saying. Sometimes we may come across as looking mad or angry. We may be in a serious moment and focused on the Lord, and we do not realize that our facial expression has become tensed. Remember to relax your facial muscles. Most of the time, you should have a pleasant look on your face or even a full-on smile. Smile, but don't look like you're trying to smile. It may look like your smile is forced. Smiling is wonderful, but if you plaster it on and it never changes, it doesn't look real. You must be careful to always make sure that your eyes are open and alert. However, there is a point when being too alert can look forced or overly dramatic. Here you can see a good example of what your eyes look like when you are squinting or are not opening your eyes enough. This is a natural facial expression when showing you are trying to concentrate on the Lord, but it appears as closed off and distant from the congregation. At the other extreme, many will open their eyes too wide and overcompensate in their actions. This appears as being very forced and not genuine. The best way to make sure that you don't appear bored, tired, dramatic, or contrived is to simply worship from your heart. Let what you feel on the inside be displayed on the outside.
One of our most common tendencies is keeping our eyes closed for too long. This can be very challenging as it's a natural expression during worship, but we really have to work on it because this too makes us seem closed off and distant from the congregation. The best solution is to simply open your eyes while you worship. You can close them some, but don't keep them closed for long periods of time. If video cameras are used during a service and you can see yourself on the screen, make every effort not to look at yourself on the screen. And especially be sure not to change the way you are expressing worship just because now you know you're on the screen projected for the whole congregation to see. Although it can be distracting, try your best not to look.
When it comes to platform presence, just be yourself. The important thing is just allowing what God's doing on the inside to come out for others to see.
Because our eyes are such strong tools in engaging the congregation, line of sight becomes important in platform presence. It's important to make sure that there's a good balance between making eye contact and looking over the congregation. The best way to handle this is to make eye contact when we first come onto the platform. Think of yourself as a host welcoming the congregation and helping them to feel comfortable. There are 3 places that you can put your eyes when you're leading worship. The first is the horizon line. Look right above the congregation's head. Most people will think that you're looking at them or that your eyes are somewhere along the congregation or towards the Lord. The second place is to look at the congregation. It's important that we look at the congregation now and then in order to engage them. But while we're worshiping, if we make strong eye contact and keep it for too long, it begins to look like we're singing at people rather than leading them to sing for the Lord. The third place is to lift our eyes to the Lord. This is an appropriate place to put our eyes when we're worshiping. But we also have to be aware that if we look up for too long, we disengage with the congregation. So look up towards the Lord, but bring your eyes back to them again. Many times, instrumentalists look down too much while they're playing. Because of this, you appear sad or depressed or disengaged with the congregation. We encourage you as an instrumentalist to also engage the congregation and engage the Lord with your eyes. It's important that when we're playing instruments, we look up as much as possible. Vocalists, on the other hand, will keep their eyes up for too long. As a vocalist, we have to remember to bring our eyes back to the people that we're trying to lead towards the Lord.
Honestly, I don't think people really care that you're on the stage. We're not there for them to look at us, we're there for them to look at the Lord. And so everything that we're doing needs to direct them to the Lord, direct them to His presence, direct them to His face. Because if we're a distraction, it's going to distract them from worshiping and from really receiving from what the Lord has. Sometimes there's like this glazed over look of like, I can tell when people know people are watching them. Don't do that. Just be so enthralled in who God is, and you worship unabandoned, and then people will be drawn to that and worship, and they'll be engaged by you just being lost in worship. You should always remember to keep your shoulders in a comfortable position. This does not mean slouched, because this gives the appearance of boredom and tiredness. Also, you shouldn't keep your shoulders too far back, because this gives an appearance of arrogance. Here you can see a demonstration of comfortable shoulders. They are not too far forward or too far back, but they look comfortable.
As an instrumentalist, your body language also speaks to the congregation. If you're on a guitar, as we mentioned, it's important not to be looking down the whole time, but also to pay attention to your posture and your general body language as it conveys worship to the congregation. On the keyboards as well, while it can be difficult to look up from the instrument or to move around while playing, it is important to make an effort. For drummers, oftentimes as you play, you can appear stiff and stagnant. At the same time, you don't want to go to the opposite extreme, where you become overly expressive and come across as forced or not genuine. The best balance for all of these situations is simply to genuinely worship the Lord in a way that is conducive for worship.
Many people may be completely comfortable on the platform, but are unsure what to do with their hands. They can look stiff because they keep their arm bent in close to their body and make a fist. This sends a signal of being closed off. It is important to relax your arms and hands. You can give sharp, strong gestures, but never keep yourself in any one position. Remember to never point at the congregation while singing or playing, and do not revert to always keeping your hand over your heart. Lifting your hands is always a great expression of worship. While playing or singing on platform, there are many times that as worshipers we feel the urge to do more than just stand and sing or play. This is often the Holy Spirit encouraging us to express our worship to the Lord through postures outlined in the Bible. You may feel led to kneel, bow, lay prostrate, jump up and down, or even dance around the platform. These are all biblical terms of worship and are more than welcome on the platform. However, we must remember to always do these as an expression of praise to the Lord and never as a ritual or to bring attention to ourselves. When someone is addressing the congregation, you should never put your hands in your pockets or on your hips. Keeping your hands at your side is a great option, or you can clasp your hands in front of you, holding your microphone.
When someone is addressing the congregation from the platform and you're on an instrument, remember that you too should stay engaged. Position your hands in a way that show that you are listening to the person and eager to receive what they are saying. Acknowledge what they are saying by listening closely and agreeing with them when appropriate. As we mentioned before, keep your focus on the back of the head of the person to show that you are listening to what they are saying. This is not the time to make adjustments to your instruments or to be distracted by anything else. Keep your focus on the person who is speaking to help inspire the congregation to do the same.
I believe that when a person's on the platform, when they're part of a team leading worship, and even when they're in the congregation, that the posture of our body should reflect the posture of our hearts towards God. God has given us an example of this. He demonstrated the posture of His heart towards us when He sent His Son to die on the cross for us. That was very physical. It was a physical expression of love. He didn't just speak love, He showed us love. While we're on the platform, we're physically expressing our love for God. When I raise my hands, I'm demonstrating the posture of my heart towards the Lord. The posture of my heart may be that I'm praising Him, or I'm receiving from Him, or I'm honoring Him, or I'm surrendering to Him. All those things can be spoken with my body through bowing or clapping or raising my hands. Even the way that I move my feet or the expression of my face is is a demonstration of the posture of my heart towards God. What I really want to be is genuine before Him, not only with my words and not only with my heart, not only with the focus of my mind, but with my strength, which includes my physical being and the way I'm behaving before Him.
Many times on the platform, the worship team will begin to look stagnant. This is usually because they are not moving enough, and it comes across as there being a lack of energy on the platform. This can create an atmosphere where it is difficult for the people to follow you in worship. This is usually because of one of the following three things. It's new for you, and you may be uncomfortable with a lot of movement. You're worried about what others will think of you. You didn't know the benefits or importance of movement on the platform. The solution to the problem is very simple. Begin to move on the platform. Always make sure you do it to the beat of the music, you do it in time with the music, and you do it in a way that's appropriate. If it's new for you, the way to get comfortable is just to begin moving. It's also important for you to use your space on the platform. To do this, just begin to walk around. Walk forward, backward, and side to side. Vocalists, if you sing a few lines without moving forward or backward, you're probably beginning to look stagnant. Remember, keep movement on the platform. Keep it interesting, keep the congregation engaged. Instrumentalist, if you're singing on a microphone, when you're done singing your part, make sure you make the most of your space by moving around. If you're an instrumentalist who is not on a microphone, make sure to use your space as well. Keep your movements simple, but always appropriate. When I'm on the platform during a worship service, I feel like I'm worshiping the Lord with my whole heart, that I'm expressing worship, and that the congregation can see that. What I like to do is go back and watch videos of worship services and see if what I think I'm expressing is coming across to the congregation visually. What I want to make sure of is that what I feel on the inside and what the congregation sees matches. I don't want to be a hypocrite where what I think I'm doing, I'm not actually doing. So what I always try to concentrate on is that my expression outwardly to the Lord matches the way that I feel about Him on the inside.
It's important for every vocalist to be aware of how you're holding the microphone and where you're placing it in front of you. There are right and wrong ways to hold the microphone. You may not want to hold the microphone too tightly because it looks like you're intimidated and uncomfortable with the situation. Then there's the death grip. This looks like you're nervous, but it's also so intensely focused on the microphone that you're completely uncomfortable. There is also another version of the death grip called the double-fisted death grip. It has the same feeling as a death grip, however, both hands are on the microphone, so you completely close yourself off from the congregation and begin to block your face and body. The proper way to hold the microphone is in the middle of the microphone stem with a comfortable, light grip. It is also very important to hold the microphone at the right distance and angle. If you hold it straight up or straight in front of your face, this can cause you to have to tilt your head up and cover your mouth too much. It's best to hold your microphone at a 45-degree downward angle. This is the best visually and is best for picking up your voice through the microphone. Many times, vocalists will also keep the microphone in front of their mouths when they're not singing. This causes you to look stagnant and the microphone becomes a barrier or a prop. The best way to fix this problem is that as soon as you finish a line or anytime there is a break, pull the microphone away, even if it's only for a few seconds. This will help you stay open to the people.
Dress code varies from service to service. Our goal is to dress in a way that would be very well received by all who attend so that we can lead them in worship without distractions. There are many guidelines for casual and dressy attire, and obviously there is a great deal of variation within these guidelines. Overall, make sure you look presentable. A good rule to go by is when in doubt, do without. If you're trying to decide whether to dress nicer or more casual, always go with the more presentable option.
Most of all, it's very important that you always review yourself on the platform. Watch a video of yourself and assess whether the way you look is the way that you think you're presenting yourself. Many times, just by simply watching ourselves, we'll find that we close our eyes too much or for too long, or that we're not engaging the congregation as often as we should. It may feel uncomfortable and strange the first couple of times, but it truly will help you grow and learn.